Hello and welcome back to Mojo Grip Mike here. Today we're going to fly Carl's airplane. If you remember a while back, we interviewed Carl right on this channel. He's a pilot based in New York and he flies a 1963 Piper Cherokee 235. And today we're gonna see how this thing really flies. If you're new to the channel or you're not familiar with the Piper Cherokee, the Cherokee lines of aircraft are some of the most popular models that are still flying today. A lot of them are over 50 years old, just like this airplane. But newer pilots and even older pilots look at a Cherokee for a first airplane or for a trainer airplane to get a pilot's license, which is precisely what Carl did. And one of the main reasons being that Cherokees are very affordable. You can find a lot of Piper Cherokees in the $25,000, $30,000, all the way to about $60,000. Now there's one thing to find an aircraft that you can afford, and it's a total different story to actually flying that airplane and see if this is for you. So that's why we're making this video today. My first impression, honestly, with the Cherokee 235 is that it looks its age. It's a really old airplane, but if you know anything about the Lycoming engines, you know that these engines are bulletproof. The 235 uses a Lycoming 540 engine, which propels this airplane to cruise north of 130 miles per hour, and you can expect to see really good climb rates at over 1,000 feet per minute. Back to the first impressions. When you first see this airplane, it does look old. It has a lot of the wear and tear on it, chips here, rust there. Also, when you get inside, it's pretty old in there, really vintage cloth seats. Now, how comfortable are those seats? The Piper Cherokee 235 is a true four-seater, meaning you can actually put 4 adults in this airplane. The useful load, 1,400 pounds. At first, when you sit in the 235, assuming you're average size, it's pretty comfortable. But once you close that door, I remember it feeling more cramped in there. So expect a more narrow cabin when you're looking at a Piper Cherokee 235. Another thing I should point out about the airplane is the fact that the radios, although they work in a lot of the models, on this particular one, we just had a radio over the speaker, which I thought was pretty cool. The pre-flight was pretty quick, so was the taxiing. Now on takeoff, I felt the airplane pick up really quickly. I couldn't tell how many feet or how much distance we covered on the floor, but before I knew it, that airplane was right in the air. And on the climb out, we saw 1,500 to about 1,800 feet per minute. Now cruising along the Long Island shoreline, here are a few things I really want to point out about the Piper Cherokee 235. This thing is really balanced in smooth air. Now, given on this day, it was pretty cool outside. As a matter of fact, it was freezing cold outside. And you can see from my end as a passenger, if I was nervous to begin with, once we climbed up in altitude and I saw really how balanced this airplane flown, I became calm afterwards. After some time in the air, Carl asked if I wanted to try to fly the airplane, and I said sure. But unfortunately, this was the most uneventful flying that I've ever done, because I didn't have to do anything. You can see my hands literally just held onto the yoke and nothing. I didn't need to move the airplane. There were no rudder inputs. It was as if the airplane just wanted to fly itself, and that was the case. That thing was so balanced in the air that I didn't even need to touch anything. It just flew. Another thing I should point out in the Cherokee 235 is the noise level. Now, on my first impression, I really thought that it was going to be super loud in this airplane, but that wasn't the case. The noise level in this cabin was pretty standard to what I'm already used to flying newer airplanes. After about 30 minutes in the air, we came back down to settle in. Now, this is my verdict on this airplane. Just like the trainer and the lower power Cherokees, the 235 can be just as forgiving. As a matter of fact, Carl bought this airplane to use it as a trainer and as a cross-country airplane. If you want an airplane with extra horsepower that can carry more people and more load, and you can go as far as 800 to 900 miles, you definitely want to look at this airplane. But here's the downside. Although you get the better performance with the bigger engine, your price to fly will also go up. The average fuel burn in the Piper Cherokee 235 is about 15 gallons of fuel per hour. If you consider your mission and realize that most times you're probably going to be flying alone, whether on cross countries or short flights, I would consider a Piper Cherokee 160 or a Piper Cherokee 180, which is kinder to your wallet. Point being, if you don't need the extra room or the extra horsepower in the engine, you don't need to get a 235. Maintenance is another thing to consider when you're buying an older airplane. A 1963 Cherokee 235 will cost you more in maintaining, in parts going bad, in changing parts, all of the above. As a matter of fact, if you look in the link below, we did an interview with Carl where he explained a lot more in detail how much he spent on maintaining this airplane since he's owned it for almost 2 years. Well, that is it for this flight. I hope you enjoyed the video. If you did, please give a thumbs up. Thank you guys so much for watching. If this is your first time, again, be sure to subscribe. I'll catch you all on the next video.